Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are already behind schedule, so probably all of us will need to speed it up. We have some very eminent panelists today with us. One, of course, is Mr. Swami Ramanathan, who is helping us in implementation of Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, particularly with respect to property title certification. We have Mr. Narun Bhattacharya, Mr. Nada Muni, and Neeraj. So, three of them will make formal presentations, but Mr. Narun Bhattacharya will probably give a heart-to-heart chat to you of what he feels about e-governance in urban local bodies. Mr. Narun Bhattacharya incidentally has a lot of experience about working in the urban sector, and all of them, in fact. I do remember sitting through a presentation by Mr. Nada Muni about a year back, what he was doing about e-governance, and I thought that he was very impressive. Coming back to what Ministry of Urban Development is doing about e-governance, I think before we start the whole process, I think it will be in order that we brief you at least somewhat that what are the initiatives that we are taking up. Many of you might have heard about Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. If very briefly, I think it's in the history of this country, there has never been a bigger initiative in the urban sector than this mission. The mission is the scale of investment envisaged under this mission is roughly about 1 lakh crore, out of which 50,000 crore will be invested over a period of 7 years by Government of India, and rest of it will be mobilized between the state governments and the urban local bodies, including financial institutions. One of the key elements of the mission is participation of the private players, and that is very, very fundamental to what we are trying to do. And the second issue is we have actually a reform which really says that one of the key reforms is public-private participation. So PPP is one of the key reforms which is to be implemented over this 7-year period. Another key reform in the urban sector is e-governance. So I would not hesitate in saying that today the urban agenda is dictated by what is JNNURM. The urban agenda in the entire country is what JNNURM is all about. The reforms that there are 23 sets of reforms. Some of these are state level reforms. Some of these are urban body level reforms. But by and large, there is a consensus in the country that if you want to do something in the urban sector, the bandwagon, the thought process, the strategy has to be JNNURM compliant. And having said that, I would say that one of the key reforms there is e-governance. Now, many of you might have already heard about NUIS and as well as Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. So what are the various aspects of it? Any one of you is interested in knowing about it, you can access the Ministry of Urban Development website or JNNURM website. You can go into the entire length and breadth of what this is all about. But as all of you know, reforms or even something like e-governance reforms, the key is not about talking about whether you have done it or not you have done it. It's the depth and rigor where the key lies. How you do it, to what extent you deliver. When you talk about citizen-centric services, what is that you are talking about? What are the kind of facilitations you can achieve? There are a whole range of questions. There are a whole range of solutions that are needed. There are 33 cities. I am not going to take individual names of the cities, but there are 33 cities out of 63 mission cities that are expected to deliver on e-governance before 31st of March 2008. I think that should be of some interest to you. There are 33 cities in the country which are expected to deliver on e-governance before 31st of March 2008. Now, some cities say that they have achieved, to the extent it is required under the mission, they have achieved the reform that is contemplated. Some cities are in the process of doing it. During the 7-year mission period, all 63 cities plus cities which are under UIDSSMT, which is the rest of the cities which are not covered under the 63 mission cities, will also be required, so long as they access funding with Government of India, they have to undertake this reform. If there are any questions about these, probably that I would think that it's more appropriate to allow questions rather than start giving the details right in the beginning. But what I would do now is to request Mrs. Swati Ramanathan to make her presentation. Thereafter,
Okay, Narun Bhattacharya, I missed the point. Mr. Narun Bhattacharya will make a presentation which will be followed by Mrs. Swami